Hey everyone, welcome back to theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, that website address is theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Rocking the Spurs hat again, I think throughout the rest of the playoffs. So right now, for those of you watching from the future, I had a bet with Pat Stone, Twitter handle BIMOQA. Lost the bet. I'm a huge Clippers fan. Gotta wear the Spurs hat throughout the rest of the championship. And right now we got the Miami Heat against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But anyways, and big shout out to Pat Stone. We're going to be doing an interview, and me and Don are going to be reviewing his book, Bubblegum Badge and FDA History, pretty soon. Right now, this video is going to be about, and I know we've done these kind of videos in the past, what are clinical studies? And so, like I said, we've done these kind of videos in the past, but you can never have enough content for this topic because this is a topic that still needs to be demystified. There's a lot of people who still don't understand what clinical trials are, and I wanted to also combine this with giving one of our guru sponsors, one of our clinical trial guru sponsors, a free plug. And I'll be talking more about how you can become a clinical trial guru sponsor at the end of this video. But today I wanted to pull from one of our guru sponsors' websites, Resolve Research, and they're at resolveresearch.com. We've interviewed Selena Ray Chavanis on here before. It was one of our most popular interviews, so for those of you who want to watch it, just check it out. I think she also posted it on her website, resolveresearch.com. But basically, I feel like she did and by the way, she just had a website design, and I'll have the links on there on this blog post. She did a she did a good job covering this topic. So the question is, if I want to participate in a clinical study, what should I know? And then she talks about research discovery, clinical studies, the different phases, and then the FDA review process. And I just wanted to go through this with you. Clinical studies are an important step in bringing new drugs to the market. They are designed to test the safety and effectiveness of medications before they are made available to the public. The clinical study, also called clinical research or clinical trial, involves human volunteers and helps pharmaceutical companies find treatments for various diseases that improve health and quality of life. And then she goes into before drugs are available for public use through pharmacies and other providers, they must go through several phases in the drug development process. The entire process takes 10 to 15 years and can cost the pharmaceutical companies over $1 billion for a single new drug. And I wrote a free ebook on this, by the way, shameless plug. It's called Demystifying Clinical Trials. You can see it on the header on top of my blog if you're watching on my blog. Right there, it's called Demystifying Clinical Trials. So basically, the research discovery involves preclinical testing phase. In this step, scientists evaluate the toxicology, which means chemical effects and biological activity of the drug in lab and in animal studies. So if this phase is successful, the company can file a clinical trial application, and or in the U.S. it's called the IND with the Food and Drug Administration. Then they can start doing the human trials. So like I talked about before, animal studies always come before human studies for obvious reasons. They want to check the basic toxicology, the chemical effects of the drug. So once it gets into human studies, there's phase 1, 2, and 3 trials. Phase 1 requires 20 to 100 healthy volunteers and assesses the safety and dosage of the medication. So if it's a drug that's supposed to treat asthma, in phase 1, they're not going to try it on people with asthma. They're going to try it on healthy volunteers just to assess the safety and dosage of the medication. In phase 2, it moves into the people with asthma. And in these phases usually require 100 to 500 patient volunteers and observes the effectiveness and the side effects of the medication in the actual patient population, in this case people with asthma. Phase 3, much larger studies, requires 500 to 10,000 patient volunteers and again observes the effectiveness and the side effects of the medication, but this time over a longer period of time, We do some phase 3 studies at South Coast Clinical Trials. Some of them last 5 years. Now, that doesn't mean if you join a clinical trial, you have to stay the entire 5 years, or you can quit anytime. You can quit even after you sign the consent form. You can quit for any reason, and we've discussed this before numerous times on our show. And then Selena does a great job of summarizing the FDA review process. So go to her website, resolveresearch.com, and check it out. It's basically after the pharmaceutical company has completed the clinical trials and the drug study is proven to be safe and effective, a new drug application is filed with the FDA. And then sometimes the FDA will require the company to do additional testing. This usually happens through a phase 4 study, which I've talked about in the past. So excellent job, Selena Chavanis at resolveresearch.com. She's a proud supporter of our show. We're very fortunate to have her as a producer and a sponsor of our shows. And I like to promote our producers whenever I find it that they're providing something of value. So if you want to sign up and become a producer of our show, it's very easy. It costs $99 a year, and I literally will promote you like crazy throughout all social networks. And I'm even talking about Instagram and Pinterest and Tumblr and things like that. I'm not just talking Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. So $99 a year, I'll literally promote you weekly, at least weekly, mention you in all of our videos, interview you if you want, tweet about you, post links to your website from different social networks, and randomly just do something of interest. I was going to do a topic today on what is a clinical trial, and I looked at Resolve Research website, and they just had a makeover, and they did a fantastic job of summarizing what a clinical trial is. So hopefully this video helps you, and if you're considering becoming a clinical trials guru, producer, and sponsor, I'd love to have you. I'm only accepting 100 producers, and right now we have 5. So there's 95 spots left. Would love to see you on there. Just go to the Clinical Trials Guru and click on register link, and it'll walk you through it. It's very simple. You can do it in about 3 minutes. I'd love to start promoting you as well. But anyways, hopefully this helps you understand what a clinical trial is, what you should know. Of course, for more information, check out theclinicaltrialsguru.com and also resolveresearch.com. Thanks a lot. Really quick, I don't want to forget our other clinical trial guru producers. In addition to Resolve Research, which you've heard about, there's Sarah Elizabeth Siegler, there's PTNR, there's Erdhart Clinical Trials, which is ECR Trials, and there's Accurate Clinical Trials in Florida. Thank you all for producing the show, and I'll be looking at your websites and see what I can pull from there and make content around that as well. Thanks again, and this is Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Really quick, I don't want to forget our other clinical trial guru producers. In addition to Resolve Research, which you've heard about, there's Sarah Elizabeth Siegler, there's PTNR, there's Erdhart Clinical Trials, which is ECR Trials, and there's Accurate Clinical Trials in Florida. Thank you all for producing the show, and I'll be looking at your websites and see what I can pull from there and make content around that as well. Thanks again, and this is Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com.